Well, it's not deja vu. It just happens several times a week. The Celtics blow a fourth quarter lead, pee down their pants, and lose a game to that they had no business losing. This time it's to the Portland Trailblazers, who, by the way, didn't have Damian Lillard, haven't for a while. A team that struggled this season more than you had, came in with 18 wins. Now they have 19, and managed to beat you because you couldn't score a field goal in the last 7 minutes of regulation. That's not, I didn't misspeak. The Celtics did not hit a field goal for the final 7 minutes of real time. Free throws, they had a couple of those. No field goals. They did not make a shot. That's incredibly hard to do. But the Celtics managed to find a way. They lose this game 109 to 105 at home in the Garden. And it is just the latest in what a series has been a series all season long pattern of losing games in the most excruciating ways possible and never learning any sort of lessons and going out and trying to do the same thing with terrible game plans, terrible offensive sets in the fourth quarter, terrible strategy, bad coaching, lazy playing, stupid low IQ basketball playing, low effort. I mean, take any sort of negative phrase or word you want to use in terms of how the game of basketball is played, and you can apply it to what the Celtics have done this season, specifically in the fourth quarter of games. And there you have it. There you have what the Celtics are in a nutshell, which is a complete embarrassment of a team. And there was just zero business in losing this game to a team like the Blazers in Boston without Damian Lillard when you had a commanding lead in the fourth quarter. Instead, you just literally you could not have made this game easier for Portland to win at the end. You handed them the game. And that's just happened so many times this year. And yet ownership seems content to just make sure this team is under the salary cap so they don't have to pay the luxury tax. That's their top priority. It's not fixing this abomination of a team. It's not adding, a veteran coach to the coaching staff to maybe help Imi Udoka out, or adding somebody to the front office who's ever run a front office before to help Brad Stevens out, or God forbid, get a player that could help this team out. No, it's getting under the luxury tax. That's what's the top priority of this team and this ownership group, who've quickly become the worst ownership group in the city, and I don't say that lightly. Um, Obviously, the Crafts are the best. I mean, you just saw what they did last offseason. They spent, up the wazoo, and they, they've been successful for virtually the entire time Robert Kraft's owned the team. Uh, I don't like the Red Sox ownership, but you can't argue with four World Series, and they haven't recently, but historically they have spent money. So at least credit to them in that regard. The Jacobs family was by far the worst ownership group in the city for a long time, but in recent years, actually, I'd say the last 10 years, they've really turned that around, and they've spent and they've made solid acquisitions, and they've been about as successful as the Celtics, maybe slightly more. You could argue slightly more, slightly less, but I'd say around the same. But they don't seem so concerned with the cap, and I think they sincerely go out every year and try to win a Stanley Cup. But the Celtics ownership group has just completely fallen from grace and is become, of the big four teams, for sure, the worst ownership group and the least accountable right now. You haven't heard a word from Wick in a long time. And so it's frustrating, and there's not any part of the team to feel good about right now, and that's really hard for fans. And I saw pictures of the Garden tonight, and it is a Friday night. I know it's freezing out, and the Blazers aren't the most exciting team to go see, especially because Lillard's not there. But a lot of empty seats, and that's not surprising at all. So I don't know why you would spend money on Celtics tickets right now. They don't. There's not one aspect of the team that says they're inviting to fans. The tickets are expensive. The product isn't good. The ownership doesn't seem to give a rat's ass about improving the team. The players don't seem to to improve or learn from their mistakes at all. The coach is in a way over his head. Management has no experience at this job, and the team's become cheap. So I wasn't surprised to see a lot of empty seats there. I would expect that trend to continue. And I said this on Twitter too, and I fully believe it. Barring the Celtics making a major move, and that means acquiring a star player, not a role player, a star player, not like a Mike Conley or Bogdan Bogdanovic, who I've seen rumors about. Those are fine players. I'm talking about a star player, a perennial all-star. Then Jason Tatum's asking for a trade this offseason. You heard it here first. I hate that whole mentality of, I was the first to say it first. I can see the writing on the wall. I can see it in his body language. This offseason, once the season ends, Jason Tatum is going to ask for a trade unless the Celtics make a major move. And I honestly, it's hard to blame him. It's what Paul Pierce did. Granted, it was later in Paul Pierce's career than Jason Tatum. Kobe Bryant did the same thing too, and it's become just more and more prevalent now. But there needs to be a more of a sense of urgency for the Celtics to one way or another get out of this situation that they're in, which is 500 basketball and zero sense of urgency, zero improvement, and beating their head against the wall over and over again and losing in the same fashion over and over again. So that's my prediction: is Jason Tatum is going to ask for a trade this offseason. We'll see if the Celtics are able to placate him with a big move. Let's get into the box score of this horrible result. Again, final score 109-105. Portland wins. They improved to 19-26. By the way, just their fifth win on the road this year, 5-15 away. Good job, Celtics. The Celtics fall to 23-24, game below 500, 15-10 at home. Starters for the Celtics tonight were Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Robert Williams, Dennis Schroeder, Jaylen Brown. Schroeder filling in for Marcus Smart, who's still recovering from the health and safety protocols and working his way back into game shape. Tatum, 41 minutes, 8 of 19 from the floor, 0 of 6 from 3. Remember, he didn't hit a three-pointer last game either, so he has not hit a 3 in 2 games. Not good. 11 of 14 from the free throw line. You take that. One was an intentional miss, so you can forget about that one. 10 rebounds, 7 assists, all solid numbers. 4 turnovers, not bad, 27 points. The numbers across the board are pretty good for Tatum, and I thought he played a good game for the most part. But then if you look in the fourth quarter, if the team's not scoring, he needs to be the guy. He needs to be taking the ball to the basket, and he was for most of this game. And then the last half of the fourth quarter, just absent, which has happened to the Celtics so often. They the game gets close or towards the end, and they revert into just playing pickup basketball where they have no plan, and it's just 1-on-5, and you can't play in the NBA that way and expect anything positive to happen. The 0 from 6 from 3, the 3-point shooting is terrible, alarming for Tatum. But other than that, he played fine. But the last stretch of the fourth quarter was just horrible. Everybody is to blame for that. Al Horford struggled in his 27 minutes, 3 of 6 from the floor, 0 of 3 from 3, just 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He did have 3 blocks though, and 6 points. He does not play well with Rob Williams on the court. It doesn't seem like, and fatigue is starting to really set in with Al Horford, and it's just it's not. The early terms were really good, but as a 35-year-old who's logged a lot of minutes in the league, plays more and more, you're going to see diminishing returns, and that's what's happening with Al Horford. Rob Williams played not great. Okay. 33 minutes, 2 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 3 turnovers, and 5 points. You'd like to see the points significantly higher than that. You'll take the blocks, you'll take the rebounds. Dennis Schroeder was not great tonight either. 22 minutes, 4 of 9 from the floor, 1 of 5 from 3, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, as he continues to be a pest stealing the ball, and 9 points. Jaylen Brown, not a great shooting night. Solid the rest of the way, though. 35 minutes, 7 of 20 from the floor, 2 of 7 from 3, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 22 points. I've really liked what we saw from some of the guys off the bench tonight. If I'm going to, have any, it's not a silver lining. It's just complimenting guys who played well. Grant Williams did a good job, 33 minutes off the bench. He seems to be more comfortable in that bench role. 13 points for him, 4 of 7 from the floor, 3 of 5 from 3, hit both of his free throws, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, did a really good job spacing the floor and knocking down the 3 ball from the corner. And Romeo Langford came in. He played 23 minutes, gave them a lot of energy, played well on both ends of the court. One of the best games I've seen from him in general. I really liked what Langford did tonight, and he played with confidence, which is something you don't often see with him. In his 23 minutes, he was 5 of 7 from the floor, 2 of 4 from three, 2 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 12 points. Led the team in plus minus with a plus 17. I also thought that you're not seeing the defensive numbers are not all being indicated there. The blocks obviously are impressive, but he was really good defensively too. Langford was really good tonight. But that's not good enough to help the Celtics win as they continue to lose in the same fashion all the time. And yeah, it's a miserable existence being a Celtics fan right now. And I'm sure the team it feels the same way, and that's why I think Tatum's going to ask to leave. Let's see what you say in the chat. Leonard Kim, this is what the Celtics do. Maybe they'll just keep sucking right into a lottery pick, maybe, but the problem is they're not nearly as bad as like the Orlando Magic or the Detroit Pistons of the world. So, it's going to be towards the end of the lottery. The only chance they have is getting, lucky with ping pong balls, which doesn't happen that often. And if they don't, they haven't shown the ability to draft very well at the end of, the draft. And Brad Stevens hasn't had much experience, running the front office for a draft, hasn't had any. And they've kept the same scouting department that hasn't produced picks at the end of the draft or the middle of the draft very well, and we know they don't scout well internationally. So it's a long process to try to build this thing back up to anything that's resembling competitive, and you got to pick a direction, whether it's go all in, cash in all your picks and whatever other role players you have, and get a third type of close to level star as you can if you can. I'm not sure they even have that ability, or you trade you start from scratch and you sort of you blow it all up and you start again. But again, this is horrible. This is the worst position to be in, and the Celtics show no indication of getting out of it anytime soon, which is really tough to hear. Yes, Hitman Hudson again. But that's going to do it. Again, these losses shouldn't surprise anybody at this point. It is what they are, and I've pat myself in the back. I've been saying this virtually all season long. This is not a good team, and this is what they are. And if people are now starting to come around. But if you've watched basketball for long enough and you've watched the Celtics for long enough, you can. It doesn't take you that long to figure out what they are. Teams don't often surprise you after the first 20, 25 games of the season. It's just that's what they are, and we're well past that at this point. So I don't know why anybody expects anything different. Celtics play again Sunday afternoon, 3:30 game against the Wizards in Washington. They're a game below 500 right now, so I'd venture to guess they win that one and go back above, and on we go. Thanks for watching, everybody, whether you're watching now or later. Appreciate it. Thanks for you guys in the chat, Leonard and Hitman Hudson. I see you there, and I appreciate you, and I will talk to you guys later. See you, everybody.